Guess what time of year it is? Spring. And welcome to the channel. Welcome to the top of the world. Sawmilling. I reactivated the Woodland Mills yesterday. There's not a lot to it really. Put fresh fuel in it, charge the battery, oil the bearings, reset the blades, tension the blades, and you're ready to go. Could I have done it any earlier? No, there's a reason. There's two reasons. One, I was too busy, and two, I've tried sawmilling in minus temperatures. Minus anything, the blades snap quite quickly. Does a saw run okay at minus 10? Yeah, runs no problem. No problem whatsoever, but you're snapping blades. And the timber's really, you know, hardly frozen. Is it unfrozen now? It's getting there. It's definitely getting there. So we're good now. Temperatures during the day are getting to 2 or 3 degrees above freezing. 4 degrees, in fact, yesterday above freezing. So the melt's coming fast. That also means that the sawmill area right where we are here is going to fill with water at some point, which is okay slushing about in water during the day, but then what happens is it freezes overnight and then the next day you're just on a sheet of ice. Is it coming? Yeah, I will show you that. So what I want to do is, because we've got all this other timber down at this other job that's going to come this way at some point, everything I stacked up for the sawmill, I want to get through the sawmill. And because I've got 2 buildings that I'm planning this year, a continuation of the new sawmill and cant and board shelter, and a new building over here, well, I'm going to need siding. So I've decided to use all these small ones rather than cut up my big cants that are dry and of good size I can get good boards out of. I've decided to use the small ones so I've got in the yard, which is, you know, a mixture of pines, pine and fir in there. And cut them up now. I can get them drying. I can also means I can get them on the side of the building quite early and let them finish drying before I attempt to paint before the winter. Do I want to let them go through one winter unpainted? No, I don't. Especially because most of the timber's on the backside, and the way the roof slopes, and I've got it up against the bank, it means it's going to get loaded with snow, and then in the spring it will get saturated. So I'm really quite keen to get them up, dried and painted. So I'm cutting now. What a mess we're in. I've decided to work in the yard. I've downed all the trees at this other little job I've been doing, but we're into this fast melt now. I say fast melt. It's going to be in the yard another month before it's completely gone. Is it normal for me to still have snow in June? Yeah, it is, over in the dark corners, but it's going. I'll show you. We can see gravel. Yeah, now, it might not look like it in the background, and it certainly don't look like it out there, although you can tell because of the darkness. Right, that. And water under the trolley. So it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. Okay. So the half pack, right, this is what I've machined up so far. It's not even a half pack, quarter pack. So they're siding boards out of the smaller stuff. I can't make them 6 or 8 inches wide, which I'd like to do. So I'm at 4 and 5 inches wide on the siding. It's good enough. It's good enough for what I'm doing over there. And the backside, of course, you won't see. So, and he's having his annual stress. He's a delicate little flower, really, is my Casper. But every year when I clip him, he goes through a period of insecurity, which means he's really clingy. It's of all the issues you have to deal with a bit of insecurity and mental health in a dog. Kind of not very good with that sort of thing. But anyway, he's more clingy than normal. Right, let's cut some of this wood up. don't know if I've shown this before. Firstly, my new glasses. Can I see? Perfectly. I can't even tell you. Was I 8 years past getting my eyes tested? Yeah, but we all know this is a subject for a different day. That's not what caused the rapid decline in my eyesight. The drugs that I was given during my back surgery, or pre-back surgery, during and after my back surgery, aided my rapid decline in eyesight. Anyway, what I haven't showed you before is, you'll notice, right, it's a tree, and the base, midway, it's wedged. But I seem to be cutting level strips. That's down to that. So the first 2 cuts I make when I'm doing a cant, right, I level. Do I level 100% accurate? No, I don't. But what it does do, right, is it saves me a lot of time, an extra 2 runs on the sawmill, and it gives me a good starting point. So now I can take this out when I roll it over. Because I don't need that anymore. Because then I can take off the wedge on the 3rd and 4th sides. What is that? 1 inch? I've got smaller ones and I've got bigger ones. And I just chuck them in there, and it just helps me take that initial wedge out so I can get an even cut on my first pass. I find it really useful. Saves me time, saves me wood. And then we'll just repeat the process until we've cut that lot up. And those there, not the birch, obviously the birch I'm gonna plank and dry. That'll be for joinery or doors or something. Right, so I've cut up everything that was on the floor. Now we're on to what's on the trolley, and we've got this bit of birch. And I don't really want to cut it into shorter lengths, and it's got a bend in it. So you can see we've got, I don't know, looks like 2 inches under there. It's hard on that end, and it's cranked down at there. So I'm going to take a flat off the top and then turn it 180 degrees and take that kink out of it. See if I can straighten it. When I've cut the timber, is it going to stay straight? No, it isn't. It's going to want to cup to a certain extent, but I'm cutting it with the grain so it don't twist. So cupping I can kind of deal with. in its length, but the twisting, where it will twist, it will want to split, and we want to cut this and then get it packed flat and get some weight on top of it so it doesn't twist or cup and split. See what I can do. I think this is, before I've actually cut them on the wind first, with the curve going left or right, but this is birch. I'm going to try and take a flat off the top, turn it over, see if I can get it parallel, and then what I've got left is what I can cut up. Right, so 2x10s. That's the size. That's the size I have found in my experience with birch over the last 7 years. Cutting it at the end of the winter when it's at its driest. Right, tree's never going to be drier than at the end of an Arctic winter. And cutting it in 2x10s, right, funny size, I'll explain why. That it's actually over 2x10s, so that if I wanted a 2x10 finished board, I could get a 2x10 finished board. But these are not for boards, this is for joinery. But it will dry and be at its most stable in this size. When I cut it thin, it almost destroys itself. When I cut it too thick, it doesn't dry evenly. So this is no good to me for 2 years. Right, air dried. I'm 2 years away from using it. There's no point me even thinking about it. A year has got to be outside air drying, and then a year's got to be inside air drying to keep it at its most stable, to be able to use it for joinery that's not going to destroy itself 2 or 3 years after you built it. So I've got two nice bits out of that. Well, I don't know what they are, 15 feet. And then I've got the edge boards, which I'm also going to be able to turn into drawer fronts, cupboard fronts, something. I'll be able to get quite a bit out of that once I've edged it down, but I'll leave it with the edging on. And now we'll stack all that, as it were, in the tree, slide it in somewhere and apply weight. And I'm not sure, it's a bit scrabbly. I'll tell you why, because I was scratching around for some decent birch to cut up for joinery. Well, of course, you haven't seen really what I've just felled, but I don't think I need to worry about that. That's so scrabbly. I think I can send that for firewood quite confidently, knowing there's a lot more, much bigger birch. That birch down there is the kind of size I dream about. So I think trying to board that and do anything with it's going to be a waste of time. So I'm going to send that for firewood, and then of course we've got some nice big birch coming onto this. We'll stack this up, and then we're on to the further in the trolley. We'll get that lot done, and then I've got a load of old pine over there on the floor. That's for a customer in the village for his firewood, so I also have to do that. Right, let's get this out of the way. And then there's that. I stuck that up there. Right, getting any kind of decent wood for joinery is really difficult. I don't know what that is, about 3/4 of an inch. But I'll be able to cut that down, and I'll be able to use that for something. It's nice and wide, so nothing goes to waste. And even the waste gets burnt. That's it, nothing goes to waste. You might have thought that last one was quite close. It was supposed to be. So we can play hit the stick. Right, that's where you calculate the height of the tree and go and put the stick where you think the top of the tree is going to land, and you have to hit the stick or punch the stick in the ground. Well, there's the stick. That's what the camera was on. And the top of the tree is 3 feet to the side. So if I'd wanted to hit the camera, I think I could, and I'll show you why when we get back over there. Anyway, that is all them dangerous trees on the ground, and the building's still standing. Sometimes I wonder if I have any idea what I'm doing. Anyway, let's have a cup of coffee, and then I'll take you over there and show you what's what. So this is this big one lying down here. This is the one I've been marginally concerned about. Yeah, I'd say that was a good word. That was the one that was weighted. Let's turn that one that way. That was the one that was weighted so badly in the wrong direction it wanted to go over the fence. And it was also weighted so badly with such a big lean on it, I knew I couldn't wedge it over. So I dropped it sideways and let gravity do the work, as I think I explained. Look how sappy it is. It's a big one. There's the house. And there's the rest of the tree line I've got to take out. How cool is that? So far, the tips of that one has just touched the wall. And that's all we want. So the big ones that are going to destroy the building, they're all down. We got a few pines now to drop right along the edge, but they're all nice and stable. Right, let me show you what I've got going on here. So we go to the hard leaner, the one that I've been working around. That's the stump of the really big one that had the top out. This is down there. And then this stump here, now that, what a perfect cut. What a perfect cut. So this bit here, when I first went in, I was out of square with the initial cut, and I realigned and went back in to give me a perfect step height, perfect 10%, perfect full size hinge, perfect snap, and a 100% perfect drop. Obviously all luck because I've never done this before. And then there was this one leaning, that one there also leaning the wrong way. Now, I've done a bore cut on that one specifically, and I wanted that to go across in that direction because I didn't want this one to land on top of that, because I couldn't get it because if that had happened, the big one that I wanted to land right next to the camera, as you saw, might have rolled onto the camera and knocked it off the stand. Right, so then there was this one. That was the heavy leaner. Right, this one. And you can see, I don't know if you can actually tell, but all it wanted to do was go that way, and we couldn't send it that way. So without any wedges that I recall, we laid it down over there, right, which is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Absolutely 90 degrees to the building and straight down the line where I can pick it up. This one was also a backward leaning one, but not backward enough, I didn't think, that I couldn't wedge it, which is that one there. And once again, I done a bore cut. And the reason I done a bore cut, right, and not a lot of people use bore cuts, they're used in specific circumstances. Right, I'm not even going to get into that because everybody has a different interpretation. But my interpretation is, when I do a bore cut, so I've cut my initial wedge, right, and I put my bore cut straight the way through, like that. Right, you can see where the bore cut went. What that does is when it comes out the back, it gives me a perfect line forwards. It also allows me to get a wedge in, because I knew this was leaning back, and it would stop closing up on the saw. So once I've done my bore cut, I then put my first wedge in, right, and then cut down the sides and get the other wedges in, and then I can go through. Now I could have done a backward release and wedged from the sides, but there's not enough room. It's quite a small tree. And then you'll see the results of my hinges and bore cut on there. And the reason I did that, there was no real reason to do that necessarily, was accuracy. I wanted to put that down right next to the camera, but 3 feet away, because I'd calculated the branches at the top were 3 feet long, and I should land it, if I landed it 3 feet, bearing in mind that's the stick this was on is 60 feet away, so I had to be 3 feet accurate, arguably 3 inches accurate, over 60 feet, and the tree itself is 80 feet. So there we go. That's why and how. Most of it's guesswork, obviously, as you know. So that just leaves me some scrabbly little ones, and then I can carry all the way up on the fence line I've got this pine there, that's got to be dropped. And then I've taken down everything on the fence line. Yeah, did that little birch, right? Yeah, it did. Did I sort? Yeah, I've sorted it out. Anyway, so we'll drop these horrible things here, right? And then we'll take that big pine down, and then the rest is quite small. We can carry on. We've got power lines and stuff up here, and the road, so we can carry on up there. What am I going to do here? Well, I don't want to cut that stump down because I'm going to make something out of that. And this one here, I'm probably going to make something out of that too, rather than cut them down flush. So we're just going to leave those for a minute until I've cleared up. And how am I going to clear up? Oh, it's too early to say. I'm working on something. So how we would normally do it was we'd have to get the Toyota and then we'd have to winch this lot out. Trouble is I can't get my big tractor down here, we're too far away. Yeah, let's get the trees down, then we'll sort that one out. Is the sap rising yet? Don't know, it might be. And the reason I say that, no, I don't think so. No, it's not. No. I'll keep saying this, it will do any day. Any day now, it will start to rise. So now we've got this lot down, of course. These are all still in their winter sleep, empty of sap, relatively dry, and all is good. Right. I think that worked out quite well, really, for guesswork. Okay, we're going to clean these up a bit first, and then we'll get on to the next one.